Descendant of Rigvedic clans says recent happiness index claims Ukraine and Russia are much happier than Bharat. Including global terrorism index, Bharat is ranked at 13. You were right. They launched their propaganda tools. So all of these things are merely propaganda. Let's take a look at the World Happiness Index. Let's see where India is on that. It's really funny actually. This is the World Happiness Trust Social Connection, all that stuff. Let us see the rankings which they have provided. Finland is the happiest nation. Denmark, I 1 second. Yeah, Denmark comes next, then Iceland, Israel, Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, Switzerland, Luxembourg, New Zealand, Austria. One thing all these nations have in common: Austria, Australia, Canada, Ireland, US, Germany, Belgium, Czechia, United Kingdom, Lithuania, France, Slovenia, Costa Rica, Romania. All these nations from 1 to 24 that you see on the screen right now, these are all US vassals. These are all US vassals. Do you understand that? I kid you not. Let's go a little bit more. Then you have UAE, Taiwan, Uruguay, Slovakia, Saudi Arabia, Estonia, Spain, Italy, Kosovo, Chile, Mexico, Malta, Panama, Poland, Nicaragua, Latvia, Bahrain, Guatemala. Up to Guatemala, it's all nations that are under US dominion. Kazakhstan is more like in the under Russian. It's part of the Russian zone of influence, and so on. So where does India figure? I think India will figure way down. India is at number 126. India is number 126 on the happiness index. Oh my God, should I start crying? I must be really unhappy then. Okay, above India, you have Liberia, a nation that has been at civil war for decades. I would encourage you not to go to Google image search and search for the civil war in Liberia. Horrific images. It's a dirt poor nation. Okay, Ethiopia. Oh man, Ethiopia is doing better nowadays, but if you go back to the 1980s, there are these horrific famines in Ethiopia created by the West. Togo, Egypt, Mali, Gambia, my goodness, dirt poor nation like Gambia. Bangladesh is happier than India. Myanmar is happier than India, apparently. Chad, an incredibly poverty stricken nation, is happier than India, apparently. Sri Lanka, whose economy is in disrepair, it's in a shambles, economy is gone. There are shortages of all essential commodities in Sri Lanka. They are happier than India, apparently. Pakistan is happier than India. The global epicenter of terrorism, the people there are apparently happier than India. So, Iraq, a nation that was destroyed by the US twice, once in 91 92, the other time in 2003 or somewhere around that, two oil wars. They bombed Iraq into dust. They flattened Baghdad through their bombing campaigns, killed at least 1 million human beings. And they say that nation, which is still reeling from the US destruction, they say that nation is happier than India. These rankings are a complete joke. Okay, this is all propaganda. Where is China, I wonder? China. Where is China? China is at 64, apparently. Yeah, how nice. I'm sure the Chinese must have paid these guys through their deep pockets. Now, let's take a look at this. This is a tweet about this. The world's happiest countries: Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Israel, all that. Same thing. Now, let's take a look at a tweet by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Take a look at this. He says, bullshit busting du jour, means of today. We cannot scientifically measure happiness and make cross-cultural comparisons, but we can measure and compare the suicide rate, which happens to be high in these so-called happy places. Never trust claims by psychologists. There you have it. The fact is that when you list countries by suicide rates, you will find that most of these so-called extremely happy countries have very high suicide rates. Very high suicide rates. They say, let's once again, where is this? They say Japan. Where is Japan in this list? Japan is not really high, it's at 47. But if you look at Finland, Denmark, Iceland, these nations have extremely high suicide rates. And when it comes to India, India has one of the lowest suicide rates in the world. And yet India is one of the unhappiest nations. So these claims don't make any sense. This is all propaganda. Listen to what Nassim Taleb says. He makes a huge amount of sense. These nations have they happen to have very high suicide rates. So that itself tells you that these rankings are all arbitrary, they're all made up, and they're all propaganda. And keeping India at number 120, whatever it is, it's a complete joke. Complete joke. India has one of the most optimistic populations in the world. And the optimism is grounded in reality, because India's economy is the only economy that's going to keep on growing in the next 20, 30, 40 years. Every other nation is now declining. Every major nation is declining. What's happening to China? What's happening to all these Nordic nations, which are number one, number two, number three, number 10? Their economies are not doing well. India is the nation that's going to keep on rising. So, all of this, what you are seeing, let's not get swayed by it. Let's not believe this nonsense. It is all propaganda. All right? Let us not believe this propaganda.